Joe, I know you spent a lot of time in the recruiting of Dante Allen. Just wonder if you've had any conversations with him the last few days or anything about confidence level, being prepared, and that type of thing.
Uh, yeah, Larry, and I mean, there's no difference in that, than what we do every single day. Here, I think with our guys, with our young guys, here every single year, we have daily conversations with all of our players, and I think that's a big thing that Cal is on right now. Our entire staff is on right now. Is looking to build each one of our guys. That's important early in the season, whether you're undefeated or whether you're in a situation like we are right now. We're looking to build up each one of our guys every single day, every single rep. You do that by executing. You do that by working on your motor, by working hard, by cutting hard, by passing the ball to your teammates the right way. And that's something that we're looking to give them that confidence as we build, their mental picture of who they can become, as an individual, the mental picture of who we can become as a team. You do that by practicing well. You do that by working out, spending extra time. And I think with Dante as well, of all of our guys, we're looking to have those conversations and build them up each and every day.
Kyle Tucker, we'll go to you. Kent Spencer, you'll have the next question.
Yeah, Joel, I know you guys aren't really, I guess, supposed to publicize the secret scrimmage type stuff, but in terms of just the thought process of, what are you trying to get out of a situation like that, especially when a team is struggling like this? What do you hope you can, and what do you think you maybe did get out of that?
Well, I think, as coaches has mentioned, and as our staff is, continuing to coach our guys, we are talking about execution. We are talking about building each one of our guys up. We're talking about having a very clear mental picture of who they are individually, a very clear mental picture of who we can be as a team. And that is not unlike last year or the previous, 5 years that I've worked for Coach Cal. That is what he does at this time of year. We've played 7 games. In a normal year, we would have played 2 exhibitions and 5 real games at this point. So you're still trying to build each one of your guys up. You're still trying to provide each one of these new guys that have now 7 games of college basketball under their belt. You have to give them the mental picture. You have to build them up. You have to show them what they can be and what you expect them to be as their head coach. And that is what Cal has done and is continuing to do every day. And our staff is doing. So whether you're doing that in a practice, whether you're doing that in games at this point, you have to provide that for our guys.
Can't you go ahead, Jerry? You'll be after him.
Joe, you and Cal this week have talked about offensive execution and how that's been lacking. But I think at the same time, you see a lot of guys maybe around the basket, maybe a couple feet out, missing, for them, what is considered to be easy shots. That also seems like there's a massive lack of offensive confidence. Am I correct in that?
I think you'd have to ask each one of the guys that are kind of making those plays, to comment on that. I think our job is to provide a clear picture of what we want on the offensive end. We want to build each one of these guys up to have the confidence on the offensive end, to know where they're supposed to be, to have not only the mental picture of what they can do on the offensive end, but also have the confidence that they can go out and execute. And that is where, on the offensive end, you have to have the confidence to go and make plays. And like I said, this is a very young season, played 7 games against human beings that have a pulse, that have a heartbeat, that are trying to stop our guys. We have the same issues probably every single year after 7 games on the offensive end, where you have new guys that are playing together. that are competing against, other people that are trying to stop you. And I think we're getting closer. I think that we're focusing, and Coach Cal is focusing on execution, and building that picture in their mind of what they can become, both individually and collectively.
Jerry, go ahead. John Haley up next.
Yeah, Joel, I wondered, with the start of SEC play, do you guys try to like wipe the slate clean to a degree as a fresh start to the season? And as a second part, how is the schedule so far, do you think, impacted how things have gone? You know what I mean, confidence-wise and otherwise?
I think to answer your first question, I think for us, we take it day by day, right now. I think we're focused on ourselves. I would have probably answered that question the same way last year at this time if you would have asked me. And matter of fact, I think I have answered it that way. And I think Coach is the same way. We are worried about ourselves. We are worried about getting better. We're worried about execution. We're worried about building each one of these guys' mental picture of who they are and who we can become. And that's a team that's going to play hard. That's a team that's going to compete on the defensive end, and a team that's going to execute on the offensive end. And when you do those things, you're going to give yourself a chance to win. And that's what we're focused on doing on Saturday is executing, playing hard. And hopefully, if you worry about and focus on those small details, the big things will come about. The schedule is what it is at this point. I mean, I think you look at the big picture. You lost at this point. I think we've lost 1,400 minutes. You lose 200 minutes in an exhibition game the first time. I don't know who that team was as I sit here, but you have two of those. You have 400 minutes where essentially there's no score kept. But most of the time you can go out and you can make mistakes, not be totally penalized for them. And the way our schedule has been laid out this year, if you make a mistake, you're going to feel the pain, on the scoreboard and ultimately in the win-loss column. So I think for us to focus on that is not something that we can do anything about. I think for us, we're coming in here every day, building a mental picture of who we can become individually, building a mental picture of who we can become as a team. And that is focusing on execution, focusing on our spirit, focusing on our togetherness, focusing on who we can become, not who we are and where we've been.
John Hale, we'll go to you. John Clay, you'll have next.
Joel, obviously you talk about all the production that you lost the last couple from last season, and clearly maybe in a normal year without a pandemic and all the schedule changes, it would have been easier to manage that. But there is no rule that says you have to have a new team every year. As a guy who's leading up some of the recruiting of this, is that something that needs to be addressed in terms of establishing more continuity? I guess, how do you go about doing that so even in normal years, this is not something you have to face?
I think that Kentucky's not for everybody. We say that. We talk about that in recruiting, and our job as assistants or even as a staff is we have to go and find the right people that are, a great fit, not only for our basketball team, but for this fantastic university, for the city of Lexington, and who are going to be great teammates. That's our job. And when you find those guys, you identify them, you evaluate them, and then ultimately you recruit them. So for us, I think that you go into the process and, like I said, you evaluate, you get the most information on them as people, and then you go and you ultimately bring them in. And I think with our track record of, who we have brought here and who we've coached and who has quote unquote made it, I think that we've, identified and then recruited the mission appropriate guys, for what Coach Cal is looking for and who we want to be here. We'll continue to do the best that we can, in that regard, and like I said, I think our most, important thing is to provide, a place for people to chase their dreams, to walk with them, to have their dreams become ours, and to provide them the stage to compete. And I think when you do that, you find the right people and you have, their dreams at the forefront of what you're doing, good things are going to continue to happen.
John Clay, we'll go to you, and then Jerry, I'll circle back.
Joel, what have you seen from Mississippi State?
Well, I think you talk about their size, it jumps off the page at you immediately at all their positions. They're a physical team. You talk about a group that looks very similar to North Carolina in terms of how they attack the offensive boards. It's something that obviously we have to, continue to address. And, as we went into the North Carolina game, we talked about that with our guys and our guards, answered the bell that game. And I think they'll have to do the same in Starkville on Saturday.
Jerry?
Yeah, Joel, I wondered what update you can give us on Cameron Fletcher and Keon.
I think both those guys are doing what they're allowed to do. And as Cal said, I think that everyone has a great attitude and we continue to move forward. So see what this afternoon looks like, when we practice at 3:00, and we'll go from there.
John, back to you.
Yeah, Joel, when you say you want the players to build a clear mental picture of who they are individually, what do you mean by that? Do you mean that they have an honest assessment of where they need to get better and how they fit into the team, or is it something else?
Well, I think whenever you're new, you have a team full of young people. As a coach and as the head coach, as what Cal is doing, is you're trying to empower them to play their best. You're trying to work with them daily to improve their skills, but also play within the framework of the team. And when you've only played 7 games, when you've only been together as a group, sometimes that changes. And as we've seen, in the last couple of weeks, we've had injuries. We've had injuries for the whole season, in other cases, when you've had, things that change. And over the season, there's ups and downs. And I think for us and for Cal, what he's just trying to do is to clear things up, talk about execution, and once again, just continue to add, a little bit more to what we're trying to do, but also then sharpen how we do it. And that's the big thing for us, because we are close, as we've seen in certain games. And I think our guys and their spirit in practice this week has been tremendous. And I think for us as coaches, once again, you just have to be there with them. You have to let them know that you're there for them, and their job is to work hard and to be a great teammate.
Larry, we'll go to you, and then we have time for one more after that.
Joel, Brian Lane said in the scrimmage that you guys shot the ball really, really well. Is that an accurate observation from him? And then also, has Terrence Clark been able to practice this week?
I don't know. Brian is a tremendous coach, and I think he can kind of give his assessment on whatever he wants to. I don't know that, to be honest with you, I'm not supposed to probably comment on that at all. What we've done this week is, really focused in on execution. We've really focused on trying to, play with a high motor, on both ends of the floor. being more connected on both ends of the floor. Our guys are excited, they're fighting, and their effort, is trending in the elite kind of direction that we need it to be, even for this early, in a season. And every day we have to continue to talk about, execution, being a team. And I think when those things, continue to move in the right direction, I think good things will continue to happen.
Guys, I don't see any other questions in the queue, so we'll let Joel go here, and I'll have Isaiah in here in just a moment.